How old was Terah at Abraham's birth? There is some debate as to the age of Terah at the birth of Abraham. Was Terah 70 years old or 130 years old? But before we look at Terah, let's look at a similar case with Noah and how it is resolved. In Genesis 5:32 we read, "And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth." Did Noah have triplet sons at the age of 500 years? Let's look closely at other Bible passages for the answer. Genesis 7:6. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. If Noah had all three sons at the same time, then they would all be 100 at the time of the flood, right? And yet we read in Genesis 11:10, these are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. If Shem was 100 years old when he had Arphaxad 2 years after the flood, he could not possibly have also been 100 at the time of the flood. Shem had to be 98 years old. We can conclude that they were not triplets. At least one of them would have been older than Shem. Shem is mentioned first because he had the spiritual birthright. Genesis 11:26. And Terah lived 70 years and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Based on the case of Noah, we can assume that Abram is not necessarily the eldest and that they are not necessarily triplets. Was Terah 70 actually at the time of Abram's birth? Genesis 11:32. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Genesis 12:4. So Abraham departed, as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. No other number is given in the Old Testament to help us, as we had in the case of Shem and Arphaxad. In the New Testament scriptures, however, we read in Acts 7:4, Then came he, that is Abraham, out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Haran. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein you now dwell. And based on this verse in Acts alone, some have concluded that Terah could not have been 70, since Abram left Haran when his father died, and we know from Genesis 12:4 that Abram was 75 when he left Haran, and his father was 205 when he died. Then if we subtract 205 minus 75, we get 130. It is deduced that Abram had to have been born when Terah was 130. It is an assumption, however, that Abram was 75 at the death of his father, because the Bible doesn't exactly say that, not even in Acts. Acts simply says that when his father died, Abraham moved to Canaan. No specific number is given. Notice that in Acts 7:4, it does not say how old Abram was when he moved from Haran to Canaan. It just said when his father had died. Is it possible to move from the same place twice? I know I have. It's important to remember that the Bible is a summary of events, not a detailed account of the lives of the fathers. There are two main reasons why I believe that Terah was 70 at Abraham's birth. One, when we consider that the New Testament scriptures were not written until after the time of Jesus. Without the verse in Acts 7:4, generations of people before the time of Jesus would not have had access to the truth given in Genesis. Because no clarification is given regarding Terah and his sons, as with Noah and his sons, then no adjustment to the 70 years is needed because it is the right number. Number two, Jewish theologians have historically taught that Terah was 70 when Abram was born, and the people of Israel would have knowledge about the fathers, since it is, after all, their family history. In Jewish theology, Abraham left Haran at 75 when his father was still alive. I imagine he would have left one final time after the death and burial of his father. Please see the reference in the video description. The 60-year difference in the numbers would change the results of our conclusions discussed in my previous video, Did Abraham Really Know Noah? Let's take a look at the differences in using the 70 and the 130 as Terah's age at Abraham's birth. 1. Abraham knows Noah for 58 years. Abraham does not know Noah because Noah dies 2 years before Abraham's birth. 2. Isaac knows Shem for 110 years. Isaac knows Shem for 50 years. 3. Isaac knows his grandfather Terah for 35 years. Isaac does not know his grandfather Terah, who dies 25 years before Isaac's birth. 4. Jacob knows Shem for 50 years. Jacob does not know Shem, who died 10 years before Jacob's birth. Jacob knows Eber for 79 years. Jacob knows Eber for 19 years. Regardless of which number is used, the outcome is still astonishing because both numbers show that Isaac knew Shem, who knew Methuselah, who knew Adam. So with just 4 of the fathers, the truth of creation, the flood, the fall of Adam and Eve would have passed to the 12 tribes of Israel from very credible eyewitnesses. We can have confidence in the Word of God and put our faith in Yeshua HaMashiach, aka Jesus Christ, who died that we might live. Please see my video, How to Live Forever, if you have not yet accepted salvation by grace through faith in Yeshua. Thank you for listening. God bless you.